Good afternoon. Thank you all for attending, taking your time to come out and join us today. I'm Jeremy Betza. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the fire chief for the city of Avon Lake here. And we've gathered here today for a push-in ceremony of Engine 4. Many of you might ask, what is a push-in ceremony? Well, it's something that's new to Avon Lake, but it's something that's a very old tradition in the fire service. Back long ago, before there was motor-driven engines, they were pulled to scenes with the horses from the fire station. When they got back, you couldn't put a horse in reverse, right? So they had to disconnect the horses and actually push the engines back into the station, okay? So when the motor-driven engines came along, that push-in was no longer necessary. But since the fire service is rooted deep in tradition, they continued to do that. And it evolved into when departments receive a new piece of equipment, they have a ceremony like this where they actually push it into the station. So that's what we're here for today. And that's a little history on the push-in ceremony. So that's what we're going to do today. Before we get to that, I want to take some time to thank some people that have helped make this part of the, make this engine appropriate to get here today. The first being the mayor and safety director, Greg Selca. And I also want to thank all the members of council that also supported this. Mayor Selca supported this for about 2 years is when we started talking about this. And he's been a strong proponent of the fire department for his whole time here. And without his support, we wouldn't be here today. The members of council, starting with safety committee is where this truck first came to. The safety committee chair, David Koss, the council president, Marty O'Donnell, and Councilman Rob James. Those were the three that got this from committee all the way to the other members of council. And I want to also thank the other members of council as well. We have Mrs. Fenderbosch is here with us today. Hi. And I don't know if the other council people are here tonight, but if I didn't see you, I'm sorry. Gary Izzo-elect is here, correct? Gary, are you here? There you are. Hi, Gary. Gary was, he's a new council person. He'll be with us next year, but he's been kind of part of the process for the end of this year here. Also, the other members we have are Zach Arnold, Casey Zuber, and Eileen Campo. So I want to thank all those, as well as our finance director, Steve Presley. I don't know if he made it out tonight. Or law director, Abe Lieberman. Everybody out at City Hall had a part of this. And although they didn't put any physical work in, a lot of administrative work went into this. And without the support of everybody, we wouldn't have got this today. So thank you to all of those guys. I also want to take a moment to thank the members of the committee. This committee started almost 2 years ago. It consists of Lieutenant Chris McKay, who is right here, firefighter Kyle Urig, and he is, I saw him, where are you at? There he is, right here. And firefighter Brian Wood. He was unable to join us today, but along with myself, those are the 4 members of this committee. We started about 2 years ago with this, and many trips out of state, and a lot of time, a lot of emails, a lot of text messages, a lot of energy, a lot of effort put into all this. So I want to thank those members. Give them a round of applause, please. And on that, I also want to thank Frank Ogle, who's our mechanic, our resident mechanic. He's not here today either. He was not able to make it. He's out hunting. But he was a big part of this process, too. Although not part of the committee, he was a big part of helping us make sure everything got taken care of appropriately. Without him, we would be in a world of hurt. But he helped us through a lot of processes with the mechanical side of this. So thank you to Frank, even though you're not here. One last thing I want to thank is the members, the committee members of the fire engine, their families, because although they didn't put any work in, we put all the work in. The families are also affected by this. So thank you to all the families of the committee members. And last but not least, of course, all the members you see in front of you are the part of the fire department. Every shift, every platoon had some effort or energy put into this engine. We received this engine in less than 4 weeks. It was put in service. And without the hard work and dedication of each and every one of you, that would not have happened. So I thank you. This engine will serve this city for about 20 years, give or take. So that's something we should all be very proud of. And I'm excited to get this thing done. Right now, I want to take the moment to introduce Mayor Greg Selca, and he's got a few words.
Thank you, Chief Betza. Chief and I were at a meeting this morning at City Hall. We were talking about budget. and we're looking at 2020 and the years beyond. This vehicle we think will last 20 years, and it costs $600,000. If you do the math, it's only $30,000 a year. These toys, if you will, these pieces of equipment are very expensive, but they are vital to our community. And we're very grateful that the residents of Avon Lake support the Avon Lake Fire Department, the Avon Lake Police Department, and the city of Avon Lake in general by giving us resources available to provide the services that you expect. Public service is a noble profession, whether it's police, fire, working for various city departments. And as I look beyond your heads, I see the American flag down, half staff, of course. We're going to be moving over to the American Legion Hall at 2 o'clock, and there's going to be a ceremony commemorating the Pearl Harbor attack 78 years ago. So these public service is important, and this is what makes our community great. This is what makes our country great. People willing to stand up and serve the community at various levels. We've got so many people, we over 70 people in the various commissions that we have in committees, and they volunteer their time and they do a great job, and we're very, very grateful for them. There's an example of the need of our community, and we're very, very blessed that we have such outstanding people, and that we have a community that supports these services. So I'm glad you're here. I've been on city. I've been in city government for over 34 years, and I've never had the chance to ride in any of these vehicles. So I was promised today they're going to give me a ride, and I will make it over at 2 o'clock at the American Legion Halls for the ceremony over there. So thank you all for coming, and I really appreciate your support of the Avon Lake Safety Forces, and wish you all Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Now I'd like to introduce Avon Lake Post 211 American Legion Honor Guard, as they will honor those who have and will serve along with their service with this engine in the community. Go ahead, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. At this time, I ask all members of the fire department and Mayor Selca to join me as we push the engine into the station. Once the engine is inside the station, that'll conclude our ceremony. I invite you all inside to take pictures, tour the engine, and enjoy some light refreshments. Thank you.